So it's going to be Jokic, Giannis. I just want to do this every week going forward because we only have like 15 games left. So it's good to do little snapshots. We did this last year. Jokic, Giannis, Luka, SJ are all going to be first team. That fifth spot is open, and it's probably Tatum and Kawhi and KD as the three people for that spot. Although KD's case took a hit this week, and Kawhi has surprisingly played more games than I thought. He's played, he's over 60 games already, which it feels like he's hurt more than he actually is. And he's 24, 6-4. The advanced stats are great. He's plus 8.9 net, all that stuff. I
think when he was on the minutes restriction at the All-Star break, you were like, what?
Right.
And then you realize he's only missed 6 games.
Tatum's case, his offensive stats aren't quite as good as Durant's. He's going to be probably at 253s by the end of this year, which is a crazy number for a guy with his physique. Super durable. All the advanced stats are great with him. He's plus 12.2 net. But the reason that I would have him in the fifth spot now is just, I just feel like when a team's been this dominant during the regular season compared to everybody else, to not reward that in some way with first team All NBA feels weird to me, especially if they have a guy who has a real candidate. And I say this every year, but I just think winning should be the ultimate metric. And sometimes we lose sight of that. The same case where people are like, should Wemby be the defensive player of the year? It's like, no, his team sucks. We're not voting for Wemby for defensive player of the year.
Some of us aren't. Some of us aren't, apparently.
But
you think defensive player of the year should matter?
No, just saying.
It sounds exactly like that is what you're saying, that you wouldn't vote for
we have to vote for it.
No, but you're not going to. So winning matters for MVP. We agree.
Their defense, the Spurs defense sucks. They can't have the defensive player of the year. They're like a bottom 7 defense.
Okay, let's just do this though, because this is like the A-Rod with the Texas Rangers thing when they came in last. And you're like, he can't be MVP. There has to exist a number.
Yeah.
Like if A-Rod had 100 home runs and 1,000 RBIs, you'd be like, sorry, you were 12 games out.
You were 74 and 88, your team.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody had 100 homers in a season, I would hope they win the MVP.
1,000 RBIs.
Do you think Wemby's having a 100 homer defensive player of the year season?
I just think it's important to define that there actually is a line for every single person. It's like, no, it's only about winning. It's like, yeah, but there could be a statistical line that would make you go, okay, I can't deny this anymore.
All right. Right now, they're 23rd net rating defense.
You can net rating the shit out of me. Throw the differentials at me.
How can you have the defensive player of the year and be 23rd in defense, though? That's
because
ridiculous.
You've watched him, and he impacts the game defensively more than any player in the league right now.
More than Rudy Gobert?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So you're gonna count the last 6 weeks and not the whole season? You're going to be that guy? Because Wemby was like a deer on ice in some of those games the first 2 months. I think that should count a little bit.
A deer on ice? He wasn't altering any shots whatsoever those first 2 months?
But I just think
what feed do you have? Who's your cable
I just
provider?
think he's a different guy. I think he's settled in. There's a swagger, and I don't know. He just seems like he's figured it out. I don't know if that means he should be the defensive player of the year.
I just don't know why. Like, okay, rookie of the year.
You're voting for him.
Yeah, I think I am.
Wow.
All right. Do you think
I'm not voting for him?
Do you think rookie of the year should matter for winning?
Rookie of the year is kind of like you probably got fucked with the team who picked you because you were a top 5 pick and they sucked and you're in a bad spot. It's a different scenario.
That one drives me crazy when it's like, hey, they're the 9th best team and you're the 12th best team in your conference. It's like, all right, was close enough. That's the tie break. You're like, what?
Yeah, I don't think we can blame the rookies. Listen, this is the last year he's not going to win it. And he said that. He was like, I hope Rudy enjoys his Defensive Player of the Year award this year because next year I'm going on a run. He's probably going to win like 10 in a row, right? Like, what's the craziest number in a row that he could win that you
10's
would
a lot.
believe?
Voter fatigue.
Because you'd have to get hurt at one of the years.
He'll get hurt, I'd imagine, at some point. But I also think voters, like, look at MVPs. Look at how many times it's like, I don't know, him again.
Yeah,
So
I guess.
There'll be something. There'll be some campaign, and maybe people
Tell you,
fall for it.
hasn't looked great in the Jokic games.
This week wasn't good. This weekend wasn't.
Him.
Yeah, this weekend wasn't terrific.
Oh wait, we got sidetracked.
I'm glad you picked out a game where the guy I like looks bad because
that's what I do.
Yeah, because it's impossible.
Who do you have in that fifth All NBA spot?
Right now, I would lead Tatum because winning.
The two-way stuff, the two-way game, the rebounding.
He's the best player on the best team in the league, and he's been that important. He's been that consistent the whole time. Like Kawhi's numbers are nuts.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen him, even though Durant, I think defensively has been pretty good this year though too. Do you see what I did there though with the winning thing? Because sometimes it applies for certain things.
It should apply with All NBA.
Well, All NBA and MVP, I think it matters.
It should apply.
But it's not the defining thing because there are going to be other times you're looking at the group of 15 guys and you're like, this guy is so good. It's like the Luka stuff. Like there becomes a line that you get through where it's just undeniable and you go, actually, I don't care that your team isn't in the top 6 in either conference. You're just that good. Like I can't.
Well, we've argued about this in the past because there was that year I wouldn't vote Bradley Beal in third team All NBA because
but it also depends.
I didn't think he played in any meaningful games in 6 months. But it's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not impressed that you scored 30 a game for a bad team.
But it depends on who the other option is. Like if there was no other option, then you go, okay, fine. I'm okay with doing this or essentially breaking the rule that I had in place before. But like when I look at somebody like Luka, if Luka's doing this and his team was last in the West, he's all NBA.
Yeah. But the thing is, if he's doing this, it would be really hard for him to go 25 and 57.
I was being dramatic, but you get
but it is true though, because we've seen some people can score 30 a game, but their team's bad, and we've seen it.
Yeah, but Luka's
too many
controlling the entire game.
Yeah,
so whatever. Now I'm making up an argument that's pointless because it's actually not happening. So it doesn't matter.
A couple other subplots for All NBA. It feels like Edwards is going to be second team, which is amazing.
All right, the guard group that you have right now is what?
Well, I am voting center, 2 forwards, 2 guards. I am sticking with it. Remember, they got rid of positions. So I have for guards on first team, SGA and Luka. And then for second team, right now, I would do Edwards and Brunson. Brunson's another one. His team wins, and he has huge games, and he's been dealt one of the worst decks of cards of any good player, right? Randall's on pace to miss half the season. They traded for OG. He immediately got hurt. They made 2 trades during the season. The ship kept going. He has a superhuman burden on him on the end of these games, and he delivers time and time again. Like, to me, he has to be, at least the way the season's gone, he has to be second team All NBA.
What about Mitchell? Missed too many games.
Mitchell's a tough one. I don't think Mitchell's going to make it because he is at 48 games right now. So I don't think he's going to make the minimum. But I think
wait, did he just actually, was he just ruled out, by the way? As I asked that question. Hold on. So he's at 49 games.
Yeah, I think
he has to get to 65. So that's
not happening. Yeah. The question is, if we didn't have this rule, would you have talked yourself into him for second team? To me, I think I still would have had Brunson, but I would have had him on third team. And then it feels like Kawhi and Durant as the forwards, and Davis still feels like the center if you're doing traditional. Then we get into this whole, can LeBron and AD make All NBA teams when that team is 3 games over 500?
All right, isn't there something deeper going on here, though? This feels like a Celtics-Lakers point about 2 Lakers and 1 Celtics.
Doesn't. I would say there's a spot for either LeBron, Zion, or Jaylen Brown. And I think Zion is developing a case, especially if New Orleans keeps going in the direction they're going. I mean, he's played almost the whole year. He's at 55 games, 23, 6, and 5, shooting 58%. He's their point guard. I think and they have a chance to be a 4 seed. Paul George is kind of lingering too. Some of the advanced stats with him are really good, and his shooting percentages. So he's probably lingering. And then Jaylen's been the best player in the Celtics for 6 weeks, right? 5-6 weeks.
Jaylen's metrics, they're just not going to hold up. So if the voters
the
are
on-off stuff is bad for him.
Yeah, but this is something that was argued against. Like last year, I had no problem voting him all NBA. I just felt like, hey, you know what? I've watched enough of these games where I felt like there were certain nights like he had to carry a team offensively. He's still one of the most confusing players like I've ever seen. Like he had a play the other night. It was late in the shot clock. He wasn't looking for anybody else. He was dribbling, looked like he lost the ball, like ended up turned around, grabbed it at fucking 17 feet, and then threw up a floater in front of two guys and it went in. And you're just like, okay. Like there's I'm trying to think of the movie where you're like, all right, I'll give you an example. College, right? The Professional comes out. One of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah.
All-timer. But the movie trailer and the way they tried to advertise that movie, I remember one trailer said twice as fast as Speed. All right? So me and a bunch of college goons, I think it might have been like a Christmas break, maybe go up to Braintree, smoke some cigarettes in the parking lot.
That's where I saw the Shawshank. That's where I saw Shawshank.
Right, that Braintree Theater.
Great theater.
That's where I hosted my first film festival for The Warrior that no one showed up to. And then the studio got mad at me. So we're sitting there watching The Professional going, whoa, dude, twice as fast as Speed?
Yeah.
Like, fucking whatever, dude.
Right.
You're like, this movie sucks. This is terrible. Like, what's going on? And then it clicked. And you're like, I left there and was like, we got tricked into seeing this thing, but this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. I loved it. That's what every Jaylen Brown possession feels like.
Wow, what a tangent that was. That sounded like slightly negative on Jaylen Brown. Can I defend Jaylen Brown?
I think it's positive. I've never seen a player that productive who's that good have so many moments where I'm like, oh, what is going on here?
I like how aggro he's been, especially like leading into the All-Star break, through the All-Star break, after the All-Star break. I just feel like he's one of the biggest reasons they're going to end up with the best record in the league and all these crazy advanced metrics is because he really gives a shit on these random nights. Because there are nights where you're like, like that was the big curse of some of the best teams in history, where they would just kind of ease up against bad teams. And this Celtics team, I asked Grandy, because Grandy keeps track of this stuff, the 20 plus leads, the 15 plus leads this year, which we did a couple weeks ago. They're up to 30 20 plus leads this year. There's 30 games this year where they've been up by 20. There's 42 games this year where they've been up by 15. Like you have to have, I know they're talented, but you also have to have a little bit of a killer instinct when you're running up scores like that. Like you have to know you're good. And I think one of the reasons they know they're good is because of Jaylen and the way he clicks with Tatum. So when I think of the All-NBA stuff, and I don't know if I'm going to vote for Jaylen or not, but I do feel like the Celtics should probably have two guys. So for somebody to knock Jaylen out, it's got to be a pretty good season. If I have 15 spots, the way he's been playing.
You're pretty even keel, neutral about this stuff. If two Lakers were to get on with their record, only one Celtic, would you be bothered?
LeBron's cases, I mean, the stats are really great. It's really impressive. It's kind of like eye-popping where he's shooting 53%. He's 40% from three. He's played.
The advanced stuff, Jaylen Brown has no chance in the advanced stuff against LeBron if it comes down to voters looking at those two guys.
It becomes are we really going to vote for two Lakers on a 44 and 38 team versus two Celtics on a team that just went 66 and 16 and is one of the best advanced metrics and point differential teams we've had in the history of the league? We're only going to have one Celtic. I think that's going to be the question.
It's only been 10 days. Have you talked yourself into those Denver losses being a touch fluky?
Well, the other thing is you could get wacky with that third team and just say, fuck it, and take like four forwards, which is another option because they gave us that option this year. But it's like, it's a top 15 list. So maybe with that third team, you do it because, Sabonis would be the quote unquote center on the traditional third team. But would you put Sabonis over Jaylen Brown and Zion and LeBron? I'm not sure. Would you? Seems like you're thinking about it.
Sabonis is another one. The numbers are absurd.
Numbers are great. He's 2014 and 8 and shooting 61%. And he plays every game, which, as you know, I value.
Yeah, he plays his ass off. Like he's a really
durable,
really good player. And the numbers almost want to have you round up who he is as a player. I was listening to the broadcast for the bloodbath game last night, where it was like, every home announcing crew is always going to stand up for their guys. Just an aside, when people say I stand on business, should they just admit that you saw somebody else say it in a video and you were like, I'm going to start saying it too?
What does that even mean?
I think you just yell it. You just yell it, and it means like however you want to be taken, you're supposed to be taken to a new level of seriousness because you saw somebody else in video yell, I stand on business. I don't know what it means. But they were making jokes essentially about, well, Sabonis is this and this, but not good enough to be an all-star. Could be second team All-NBA.
He should have been an all-star.
Yeah. He should have been one of the replacement picks by the time it had gone
he should have made the all-star team.
Right.
I don't know if he's one of the best 15 players in the league, though, which is basically what they've shifted the All-NBA.
His stats would tell you he is, and I don't think that he is. So that, I think, presents the problem that I have with Sabonis at times, because there's nights I'm like, what did he do? Or you're watching it going, he's in on everything. But then I'll admit, New York had no issue attacking him last night.
It was problematic.
Right.
Booker's on the bubble and Curry's on the bubble. Paolo can't quite get there, unfortunately. Sorry, Cerruti. Paul George in the bubble. And that's really probably it, because Mitchell's out, unless you want to get excited about Jimmy Butler, who's not going to make the 65 games. So we can't talk about him anyway. There's a Tyrese Maxey, 26 a game, trying to hold the fort, keeping it down without Joel Embiid. Not too exciting.
They're not even a play-in team right now. I mean, they are, but they're bad.
The big things for me is Brunson and Edwards, to me, are second-team All-NBA guys this year. And that's going to have a big impact on Edwards, because I think that's going to make him an extra 40, 45 million if he makes one of the three. He's definitely making one of the three All-NBA teams, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at the numbers post-Cat. Now, the offense...
29 a game?
No, I'm just saying collectively the offense for Minnesota, you're never really going to love their numbers that much anyway, because we just know how special they are defensively. When you think about Gobert, the rare chance that, there's nights where you watch Edwards and McDaniels defensively. And I think Ant is like, the offense is so much fun that it's easy to overlook. Like, you look at him and some of those closing sub patterns of games defensively.
When he does
I
got him.
Yeah.
I got him move. Let me take him. I'll guard him. It's
right.
fun.
So Ant is giving you like the complete thing here beyond like what I think other guys are even doing. And we'll see what the offensive numbers end up being without Cat. But since the All-Star break, they're 19th in offense, which again isn't a shock, but they're still fourth in defense. But
well, another thing that can
Cat
happen,
was still part of those games. It's not like he's missed all of them. Go ahead.
Well, we just have the possibility of somebody getting hot down the stretch.
Of course.
That could be a Curry, that could be a Booker. You could see LeBron just turn it up big time. But somebody could just have a run. A little like what New Orleans just did. So anyway.
LeBron also has a massive advantage to be doing it this long, where there are going to be a lot of voters that go, you know what, like, it's close. The fact that he's done something we've never seen anyone do before, and he was great last night. But again, I know it's not just one game. There's going to be a lot of voters that dig that.
If you had to pick one or the other, who would you pick?
LeBron or Jaylen?
LeBron or Davis? I said to you, you can only have one Laker. We're not having 2 out of 15.
Davis.
Yeah.